have a sweet friend who is a wonderful piano teacher. We met as teenagers, and when she graduated from high school, she went straight into college where she majored in music. And in the middle of all of her training, she had some assignments that would seem to be completely unrelated to music. Her professor called them distraction lessons. Someone in the room would make all sorts of racket, and she was required to stay focused on the piece of music in front of her without stopping or fumbling, because her professor knew that distractions are likely during a recital or a concert. And in order for her to be a skilled, well-trained musician, she was actually graded on her ability to focus in spite of distractions. There are several scriptures in the Word of God that speak of keeping our spiritual focus. And we know Solomon was a man who was terribly distracted in several ways, but he put things into perspective in Proverbs 4. Let thine eyes look right on, and let thine eyelids look straight before thee. As we go about our daily lives, we encounter so many distractions. We know there's danger in getting distracted while we're driving and we're talking on the phone, and texting is even worse. A friend of ours is a fire chief, and he told us about a 3-car pileup when the authorities approached each driver and asked what happened. The first driver said, "I don't know." The second driver said, "I don't know." The third driver had the same answer, "I don't know." It turns out all 3 of these drivers were texting, which is why no one knew what had caused the accident. Our friend said the scene was so horrible, it looked as if no one should have survived, but miraculously, no one was hurt. We heard of a lady who was pulling into a parking space, and she saw a penny just out of arm's reach from her driver's door. So she put the car in reverse, reaching out trying to get the penny, and she rammed into the car behind her. She still couldn't reach the penny, so she put it in drive, and as she went forward, she hit the parking meter in front of her. She was so distracted by something so small, and it ended up costing thousands of dollars in repairs. Now, natural distractions are one thing, but spiritual distractions are another. And it seems we have more to distract us spiritually than ever before. I've often apologized to the Lord recently, and you may have felt the same way. I've said, "Lord, I'm so sorry that my mind is so easily distracted while I pray. My mind will drift over there and drift way back over somewhere else." And I realize so much of it is spiritual warfare as the enemy comes against all of our minds to keep us from praying through. And distractions in the house of God are some of the worst. We heard of one particular lady that went to her pastor saying she was so irritated with all of the church hypocrites and with all of the gossiping and texting during church services that she was fed up and decided to leave the church. The pastor said, "Wait, first, do me a favor. Take this full glass of water, carry it all the way around the church, and bring it back to me without spilling a drop." And she thought the request was a little odd, but she did it. Without spilling a drop, she carried the full glass of water back to her pastor. And he asked, "Did you notice the hypocrite while you were walking around the church?" And she said, "No, I was trying to make sure I didn't spill any water." Then the pastor asked, "Did you notice anyone texting or gossiping?" And she answered, "No, I was looking at the glass and trying not to spill any water." Then the pastor finally asked, "Sister, when are you going to get what I'm trying to tell you? When you get your focus on God, like you did on that glass of water, you won't even notice the hypocrite or who's texting or gossiping." Now, we all know distractions are real, and they vary from person to person. And we find in Psalm chapter 73 where David said, "As for me, my feet were almost gone, My steps had well nigh slipped. David was in a very dangerous place because he got his eyes on people who weren't living right. And that's one of the devil's favorite distractions to use against you and I. And someone today may be feeling like David, where your distraction has brought you to the point where your steps have almost slipped. That's the devil's ultimate goal. But in the year ahead, in 2022, may we strive to be more focused on the work of God than we have ever been before. May all of us remember, each distraction is a test. Just like my friend in her college training, God is observing our spiritual concentration. So no matter how much racket is going on around me, in spite of every hindrance I face, I want to keep my attention and my focus firmly centered on the Lord.